Hi, I'm Sophie, and this is another episode of Sophie Reports. And today we are here at Carrington Hospital in Auckland. Before it became a symbol of neglect and uncertainty, Carrington Hospital was one of Auckland's most significant institutions.
So, what really happened inside Carrington Hospital? What was life like for the patients and staff? And how does a place with such a heavy past become something entirely new? In this video, we're diving into a full story, from its origins as a 19th century asylum to its controversial redevelopment today. Imagine standing on a quiet stretch of land in Auckland's Point Chevalier. Trees swaying, birds calling, and beneath it all, a past that's anything but peaceful.
Opened in the 19th century, Carrington served as the region's main psychiatric hospital.
Once the largest psychiatric institution in Auckland, and for over a century, a place where thousands of lives passed through its imposing brick walls. Originally opened in the 1860s as the Faux Lunatic Asylum, the facility was built to solve a growing crisis of overcrowding in Auckland's first asylum. But what began as a solution quickly became a story of expansion, hardship, and transformation. Over 500,000 bricks went into its construction, and yet, even from the beginning, it was never quite enough. Fires tore through parts of the building. New wings rose from the rubble. Patients worked farms, tended animals, and lived lives largely hidden from the outside world. By the early 1900s, nearly 500 patients called this place home. Over the decades, the institution changed names: Auckland Mental Hospital, Oakley Hospital, and eventually Carrington Hospital, reflecting shifting attitudes toward mental health. But behind the changing labels, the reality remained complex. By the late 20th century, everything changed. The hospital closed in 1992, ending more than 100 years of psychiatric care on the site. What followed was unexpected. Classrooms were placed wards, and the grounds became part of a tertiary institute. And now, land is transforming yet again into a massive residential development, reshaping the landscape while pieces of history quietly disappear. Even parts of the original building have already been demolished. So what really happened inside Carrington Hospital? What was life like for the patients and staff? And how does a place with such a heavy past become something entirely new? And now, as we reach the present day, the story of Carrington takes a more uncertain and a more uncomfortable turn. What was once of Auckland's most significant historic building is in parts being left to slowly deteriorate. Sections have already been demolished. Other areas sit in a visibly declining state, withered, neglected, and increasingly vulnerable to time. This raises a difficult question. Is this simply the cost of redevelopment or something more deliberate? When historic structures are allowed to fall into disrepair, it can become easier to justify their removal. Restoration is expensive, preservation takes commitment, but demolition, that clears the way for something far more profitable, like the thousands of new apartments planned for this land. To be clear, cities evolve, housing is needed, growth is inevitable, but at what point does progress come at the expense of history? Carrington isn't just a piece of real estate, it's a place layered with stories, patience, staff, hardship, and change. Letting it fade into ruin risks losing those stories entirely. So, the question remains, is this the unavoidable reality of urban development, or a quiet strategy to erase the past? As the redevelopment continues, the future of what remains of Carrington Hospital is still being written. And whether it stands, falls, or is transformed beyond recognition, will say a lot about how we choose to remember our history.
Thank you for watching this video on Sophie Reports. I hope you enjoyed learning a little bit about Carrington Hospital in Auckland. Please remember to like and subscribe, and if you have any future story ideas, please let us know in the comments down below. You can edit that bit, right?
You do it again, but just make sure.
I did so.
Last time.
Okay. Bye.